do that, and then if Ohio State and Michigan can't do whatever, it's going to put a black eye on the Big Ten. And where is this money going to come from to pay all these smaller schools? I just don't see it happening. Big Ten is not going to let it happen.
Well, how do you stop them? If you're saying you're not going to play and you have a school that wants to play, what stands do you have to prevent a team from going and playing?
Well, it's kind of like you're part of a conference. You're part of an alliance. If one steps out, who's to say they don't get the boot at that point? Because they got a lot of money from the Big Ten.
Thanks, Curtis. Appreciate the call. To me, the opposite's the worst. If they say we're playing Big Ten football and Rutgers goes, we can't play, that's a lot worse. You're opting out, not opting in, or whatever. So, I mean, if they're not going to sanction a sport, and you want to have a sport, I don't know how they can prevent you from doing that. I mean, Big Ten doesn't have bowling, but we have a bowling squad, right? I mean, we're the only Big Ten team with a bowling squad. It's allowed to compete. I don't know how they can prevent you. Let's work in one more caller before we head to the break. Let's go to Omaha and Andy. Hello, Andy. Welcome to Sports Nightly. All right, Jameson in Council Bluffs up next. Hello, Jameson.
Hey, Greg. Real quick, I'll try to be less a stranger later on. But anyhow, I love Coach Frost's attitude, his comments there in the press conference today. I don't understand how both Michigan, Ohio State, Nebraska coaches, staffs, ADs, one way of trying to get football, we'll keep playing. The president is going a different route. I don't understand why the message and disagreement there, both the ADs, coaches, and presidents there, which are big key things I think should be streamlined there. And also, money-wise, it's a big-time deal. And also, just wondering, Nebraska tried to do schedule, points, everything is their question. So all right now, it just seems like college ball all across the country is a big mess because the Power Five do not have a common goal or process. They won't get to deal with this issue of the virus and everything that we're dealing with,
Yeah, I mean, the Power Fives, I think, have kind of started to pull a little bit of a power play over the rest of the country, saying, "Well, we're big enough." Thanks, James. Appreciate the call. We're big enough to do our own thing if we have to. Now, back to Curtis's point, Ben. Nebraska's position certainly would be strengthened if a couple more teams in the league say, "Yeah, we're going to do the same thing Nebraska is." Then all of a sudden, what are you going to do? You're going to tell Ohio State, Nebraska, Michigan, you can't go do that? I mean, you think that's going to work? Really?
Well, yeah, and then I think it's just, it becomes a legal matter. What legally are they allowed to do? And I don't understand that. I don't know enough about, interconference wordings, agreements, all of that. I don't necessarily know what type of, handshake you agree on when you go to a new conference. This is absolutely unprecedented in our time. And it's not like Nebraska, Ohio State, or whoever the school is, wants out of the Big Ten. They just want to play football. And so I don't know that there are plenty of other examples that schools that do that type of thing. Arizona State in hockey, there's no Pac-12 in hockey, but this is just so unprecedented. I don't know how the Big Ten handles it or what they're allowed to do. I mean, maybe it's just a public shaming. Maybe it is. Maybe it is that. Maybe it's just I don't know what it is, and I don't know what the cost is, but that's not going to stop these teams from looking out and trying to explore more options. I can tell you that.
Great point on Arizona. That's a perfect example. Arizona State's conference doesn't have hockey, so they go to a league that does. I mean, there's going to be precedents out there for this. Notre Dame making their alliance with the ACC for this fall. Isn't that a precedence to go to this thing? I believe Nebraska has been working on this for a couple of weeks. I think they were reading the tea leaves that we were all following over the last couple of weeks. I don't think this is something Nebraska brewed up over the last 24 to 48 hours, says, well, maybe we should do. I think they've been mulling this over for several weeks. All right, Andy in Omaha is back with us. Welcome, Andy, to Sports Nightly.
Hi, thanks for taking my call, guys. One idea that I had about, so if we are determined to play football one way or the other, if to try to stay in the good graces of the Big Ten, what if we played like an exhibition season, whether it's 6-8 games against Iowa State, Mountain West teams, what have you, if anybody else falls out. Go Big Red. Thanks for taking my call. Bye.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for the phone call. And that's a great point. The Mountain West, we brought that up a couple of times today, and I think that is a possibility, what you just said there. I think Iowa State is looking for that +1 game right now for their thing. I think Kansas State's looking for their +1 game. But Air Force has kind of gone on record saying, we're still going to play Army and Navy. We're going to keep the Commanders and Chief Trophy thing going. So, okay, Mountain West, you cancel. We're still going to play. So there's another example of somebody whose league is shutting down. Air Force is going, well, we're at least going to play those 2 games. We're going to play Army and Navy. And then maybe they're going to look for some more. So maybe they would be a possibility for that as well. 531-500-4686 the number if you want to be a part of the program. Back with more of the show next. Here on the Husker Sports Network, 531-500-4686 the number to join us on the phone or send us a text. I did get a text during the break, Ben. It says, if schools and conferences are canceling sports, are they also canceling campus classes? It's a great point. They're not. I mean, UNL students are moving in later this week. Some of the campuses already have students. I think Notre Dame started today. So these campuses are open for business, but they're shutting down sports.
Yeah.
Okay. You're putting people in dorms. You're jamming them in dormitories, but you're not going to yeah, okay.
And I mean, that part's obvious, but if that part wasn't obvious enough, you need to spell it out further. The football players are being tested multiple times per week. You're not doing that in your dorm room.
No.
You know? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Let's stay in Lincoln. Russ, you're up next on Sports Alley.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Lifelong Husker fan. Worked in that stadium. This will be my 7th year, God willing, up in the East, up in the 600 level. Just wanted to make a quick comment. You know, we've been waiting 20 years around here to wonder what Nebraska football is all about and what kind of leadership we have, and I think we know today. This might be the quintessential moment we've been waiting for. You know, he said all the right things about the safety and everything, but I think kids will take notice around the country now, and they've been wondering who the heck Nebraska is. I think they know who Nebraska is, and they'll want to come play here, and they'll want to play for a coach that we're proud of, an administration that will back him and that we're proud of. And as the Peter boys used to say, we're blanking Nebraska, and don't forget it. And I just want to say I'm proud that Scott Frost is our coach. And, you know, it's about the safety, but I think it's about taking a stand. And like you said, the kids are getting tested 3 times a week. That's better than if they go running around and not tested at all. So I think this is the moment we've been waiting for. And even though it's in the face of a pandemic, I think it's what Nebraska is all about. We're tough, we're strong, we'll fight through anything, and we've got a coach and administration that'll fight for us, and the kids believe that, and they know that Scott Frost is their coach, and hopefully more kids will see that across the country want to come here. So I just want to say go Big Red, and thanks a lot for taking my call.
Call of the night right there, Ben.
Yeah, it's a great phone call. There's a lot in there too, and that's another thing that I thought about today too, Greg. Kind of in hindsight, you think about how fractured this fan base was during the Mike Riley era. I mean, almost as fractured as where we are as a society right now politically. That's what almost our fan base felt like. You know, you were either for Bo or against Bo, and that kind of drove a wedge between our fan base. And I thought about how good it felt today to be unified as an athletic department, from all the way at the top to all the way down, to see coaches tweet about it, to see players tweet about it, to see the media tweet about it, and of course the Husker fans' response. Everybody, for the most part, is on the same page, and I just loved seeing that. I'm imagining what this pandemic would have been like during any of the Riley years or the last couple of years of Bo, how poisonous this atmosphere would be right now if it wasn't so unified. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad we've kind of united as a around this team again, and everybody's kind of on the same page. That makes me feel good.
Russ, appreciate the call. I want to get another Frost clip in from his press conference earlier today. He was asked, "What are your players saying to you? How much do they want to play?" Here's the head coach.
Our team's as close as I've seen it be. Our players' biggest concern in regards to not playing or playing this season is what happens to their eligibility, to be honest with you. The guys don't want to waste a year of eligibility if we play a broken season, a 2-game, 3-game, 4-game season where they're going to lose an opportunity to play for a whole year. That's been the biggest concern that I've heard from our players. So we're waiting to hear on eligibility decisions from the NCAA. Other than that, our team wants to play. We've had one guy or two since the cardiac issue has come up that's been concerned about that. Our university is committed to doing whatever we have to give EKGs and cardiac MRIs and other things to make sure that the players are in the best health that they possibly can to play and they're not at risk. We're going to be able to try to address any way we can all of these issues and mitigate risk for our players. And our players have wanted to continue practice and play football.
I think that's important too, Greg. It's not just, are you testing positive, this is the policy, and this is how it's going to be. I think, and Coach Frost even said this, the more you learn about the virus, the more you have to be willing to adapt to it and insert new protocols. And if it starts to affect other parts of the body, what are we doing to make sure that those parts of the body aren't affecting our players? And I think that was important today too. I think there are a lot of people out there that aren't even aware that this is starting to bleed into the cardiac part to the body, to the heart, and now that, you know, it proves the point that they're doing more than just whatever to get by. They are doing their due diligence. They are looking into new breakthroughs and new information on this, and they're trying to get out in front of it and make sure it's not happening to their players. So I think that gave a lot of credence to what he was saying about taking advice from medical professionals and not just kind of shooting from the hip.
I want to get one more clip in before we go to a break. The coach, the Big Ten on Saturday came out with an edict that said you cannot go to pads. Practice number 3 of the fall camp is supposed to be when you're able to put pads on and start doing some real hitting, and so that would have been today. Well, the Big Ten said, nope, you can't do that. Until we tell you further notice, you can't go to pads. The head coach was asked today, how soon could he have a team ready to play a game?
Mitch, I think if I took a straw poll of our team and asked them when they could play, give us about a week, and I think we're ready to play football. The only thing we're missing right now is haven't had the pads on, getting our guys a little bit used to the contact, blocking and tackling a little bit. We can be ready to play really quick.
He was asked about what the energy has been like at these 3 practices that they've had so far with all of this distraction, this swirl of postponement being hanging around the heads of the program, and here was the coach's thoughts about the energy of the team.
You know, I was worried about that this morning when I went out on the field. Brought the team up at the beginning of practice and guaranteed them that they have people here in Lincoln that are fighting for them to play. After that huddle with the team, we had one of the most passionate and energetic practices that I've been a part of. So I told the guys afterwards I was happy for them because guys that'll give everything they have in a situation like that, those are the type of guys I want on my team.
That's nice to hear, too. How many times have we heard that, even just pre-virus? You know, that was the message from the day that these coaches got on campus. We want kids that want to play football. We want kids that it's important to them. They want to be out there. You heard the 3 presumably captains up there speaking today with DCAP, with Adrian, with Matt, and we've heard countless others sound off on Twitter about it. This isn't something that they just feel obligated to do. This is something they want to do. And I think the coaches have done a great job of, you know, fitting that into what they want to do and what type of players they want to have.
531-500-4686, the number if you want to dial us up with a comment or question, or you can use that same number and send us a text. I'm going to read some of the text to you coming up after the break. Bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Greg Sharp, Ben McLaughlin with you. Want to read a text we got on our U.S. Cellular text line. I realized again today why I love the University of Nebraska and Coach Frost. Since Nebraska has been in the Big Ten, there has been nothing but headaches on and off the field. What has made Nebraska as great is what they are doing now. Stand up and lead others and play games with other willing teams. Go Big Red. So there's one of our texts into this. Scott Frost talked a lot about the impact of not having football would have on the university, on the athletic department, on the community. And he was asked about, has he had any contact with any of the other Husker head coaches of programs that could be in peril if you don't get a college football season in this fall? And this was his response.
Well, nobody's a bigger Nebraska volleyball, baseball, track and field, soccer fan than I am. I want what's best for all those programs, just like they want what's best for us. A lot of those guys are nervous too. Mark Manning's been in the office wondering if we know what's going to happen. I was on the phone with Will Bolt 2 nights ago. Call it what it is. Think about 85% roughly of our athletic department revenue comes through the sport of football. And I'm proud of that fact because we help support a lot of other student athletes' ability to play the sports that they love, just like our kids get to play the sport that they love. If you take away 85% of revenue and put us in that big a hole as that athletic department, realistically, it's going to be hard to continue to field all those sports. Not sure what it would look like on the tail end of that. That's not just at the University of Nebraska. I think we're in a better position than just about anybody else in the country. But those are all the problems and obstacles that you're going to encounter if football doesn't go off this year. And I want what's best for all those sports, including ours.
Ben, I don't think we can even list off all the negative impacts it would have on this athletic department sitting here tonight. I think we would miss a bunch of them.
And I don't know that we would know. I mean, I don't think that, much like the virus in society, I don't know how much you really know what would be affected by it in a negative way until maybe years down the line. And the trickle effect, the spillage would be all over the place. And it's hard to even comprehend how they would function on a day-to-day basis without that amount of money. I mean, just apply it to anything, your own personal bank account, whatever. Losing 85% of anything trying to function normally just won't work.
And, they've tried to take some preemptive steps with reduction of staff, which cost people their jobs. They've taken pay cuts across the board. They've reduced everybody's budget by 10%. But that's not enough. It's way bigger than that if this doesn't happen. And I know Nebraska has built up a nest egg in some areas, so they could, like Scott said, they could probably withstand this better than other places. But if this doesn't kind of get going, the repercussions for future college student athletes will be impacted. So if you have a high school freshman or sophomore, this could affect their opportunities in a couple of years of getting a college scholarship for the athletic competitions. It is just a massive, massive story. Today was a big-time day, and I'm very, very proud of the head football coach for the Cornhuskers, the way he stood up today and answered a lot of tough questions. Good hour here on Sports Nightly.
This is Husker Sports with Sports Nightly. First, tonight's sports headlines.
Good evening, I'm Tim Curran. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Cornerstone Bank. While times seem uncertain, Cornerstone Bank is here for you and your financial needs, just like they have been for the last 138 years. When times are difficult, there is no place like Nebraska. Bank on a Solid Foundation, Cornerstone Bank member FDIC, equal housing lender. Nebraska football coach Scott Frost addressed the media today. He told reporters that the Huskers are prepared to play no matter the circumstances.
We want to play a Big Ten schedule. I think our university is committed to playing football any way that we possibly can, regardless of what anybody else does. And look forward to the opportunity to let our guys get on the field and show the progress that they've made in a safe environment.
Another college football news, Mountain West Conference have called off their fall season and reportedly hope to play in the spring. Moving on to Major League Baseball, got plenty of games in progress right now. The Phillies have a massive lead over the Braves, 13-1 the score there in the bottom of the sixth. The top of the fourth, no score between the White Sox and the Tigers. Also in the top of the fourth, the Nationals lead the Mets 5-0. And the Red Sox, they have a lead over the Rays, 3-0 in the top of the second. And coming up here shortly, the Twins will take on the Brewers. And in NBA action, got a couple finals for you from earlier today. The Suns took down the Thunder 128-101, and the Mavericks prevailed over the Jazz 122-114, the final in that one. One game in progress right now. It's the Raptors lead the Bucks 71-62 with about 8.5 minutes to go there in the third quarter. Coming up at 7 o'clock, Pacers will take on the Heat, and at 8 o'clock, the Nuggets will take on the Lakers. Live inside the Husker Sports Network studios, Adam Curran.
Your state, your team, your show. This is Sports Nightly.
Lejean in at quarterback for Maryland. Looking at 3rd and 9 now with 30-yard line. Lejean gets the snap. Gets hit, dropped. Oh, what a sack. Big-time hit by JoJo Doman back at the 21-yard line. Doman's second sack of the year.
Now, let's check the pulse of Husker Nation with your hosts, Greg Sharp and Ben McLaughlin.
Here we are back for hour 2 on a Monday night on Sports Nightly. Hope you had a good weekend. Really didn't even get to talk about that. We had to launch out of the gate into all the news of the day after the Scott Frost press conference from today. But those summer weekends starting to trickle away from us as we get into August. Coming up this hour, we'll have our weekend rewind. Ben hasn't put one of these together for some time, so looking forward to hearing what he has mixed up for us here. We'll also hear from some of the Husker players who were made available today. Adrian Martinez, Matt Farniak, and DiCaprio Boodle all continued on the press conference today. We'll play some of the clips from that for you later on in the hour. We'll also tell you about the Huskers Fanatic stores, which are back open again at PBA and also on the east side of the Husker football stadium. Love to get if you want to get caught up on your Husker gear, be a great little gift, send-off gift for college incoming freshmen to make sure they've got some Husker gear to wear. We'll have that. We'll have our weekend winners coming your way this hour as well. Right now, though, let's get it all underway with the Rewind.
See the game last night?
Which game?
Any of them.
Oh, there's a cat. A black cat has taken the field. A black cat is running from the 20 to the near side, the 10. From the 39 in Dallas, here's a short throw down the middle, caught by Ingram. Caught at the 35, went to the 30. Now the cat running the other way, and so is Ingram at the 30 to the 25 to the 24-yard line. They've stopped playing. The players with hands on hips are watching the cat run and zigzag all over the field. Now a policeman, a state trooper has come on the field, and the cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown.
Let's check out the highlights. Steven Jackson's David. Reggie Miller's looking good. He shoots a 3, and it's good. Later, he gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite.
It's the Weekend Rewind with Ben McLaughlin.
Man, I don't even remember the last time I heard this open.
5 months ago, probably.
Let's look it up, shall we? The last Weekend Rewind I have saved was from let's see
March
here.
9th, 8th?
No, because we had let's see. It was in February. Oh yeah. It's been a significant amount of time. So we'll see if we remember how to do this. Friday didn't go so terribly with the preview, so if we can replicate that effort, we'll do all right. Plenty of action this weekend to recap, starting first with the association on the hardwood. You've got some finals from this weekend. The Clippers beat the Blazers 122-117. It was Denver downing Utah 134-132 in overtime. TJ Warren is on absolute fire right now for the Indiana Pacers. He paced Indiana with 39 points and a 116-111 victory over the Lakers. He is on absolute fire as the NBA season picks up. Also, final of note, Dallas beats Milwaukee 136-132. Luka Doncic, his 17th triple-double of the season.
He good.
Not terrible. Outplayed Giannis 136-132. The finals from Sunday, it was the Spurs beating the Pelicans 122-113. J.J. Redick, 31 points for the Pels, but not enough as the Spurs beat them. Damian Lillard powers through Portland with a 124-120 victory over the 76ers. 51 for Dame. Speaking of on fire, he is on another planet right now as he drops half 100 on the Sixers. Joel Embiid hurt again. Surprise, surprise.
So they're down Simmons and now Embiid?
Yeah, Embiid's like good for 3 to 5 games before he gets injured again. Brooklyn beats the Clippers 129-120. So Clippers split, Portland split here this weekend. Moving on to the National Hockey League. It was Vegas over Colorado 4-3 the final, and the Flyers upset Tampa Bay 4-1. Don't like that as that series gets underway. Boston, they fell to the Capitals 2-1. Dallas beats St. Louis 2-1, and it was Toronto and the Columbus Blue Jackets dealing to a 3-0 shutout. So Leafs fans who have been suffering so long for so many years, hoping this year might be different with the results, taking on Columbus, another team who is trying to make a name for themselves. Blue Jackets win 3-0 and win that series 3-2. So sorry, Leafs fans, gotta wait another year, maybe next year.
Man, that has been a pretty bad franchise for so long.
Tough deal there.
Oh,
so shoot, let's give you the matchups, shall we? Starting next on Tuesday, you've got the Blue Jackets taking on the Lightning. The Flames will battle the Stars. Hurricanes and Bruins, and the Blackhawks.
I like the Flames
in Vegas. Yeah, Flames.
I'm a Flames guy. Yeah,
you're So, was it the Flames that we watched play?
Yes,
it was
the Coyotes and the Flames. Some of us watched the game, actually.
Was it really the Flames? I thought it was a different team.
Yes, it was Calgary.
Okay.
It was Calgary against Arizona.
Well, I just realized I should have been more of a Calgary fan because they were the Omaha Exarban Knights were the affiliate of the Flames.
Oh,
so there's my tie-in right there, and I was rooting for the wrong team the whole time.
We had a family right in front of our seats. They were Calgary fans. So it was easy to jump on board with them.
There was tons of Flames fans everywhere. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I just absolutely could not believe it. This is the next round of games in the National Hockey League. Let's jump to some Major League Baseball news and notes over the weekend, shall we? The Kansas City Royals just dusted the Minnesota Twins right on out of Kansas City. Brady Singer picks up his first Major League win yesterday. How about that, Greg Sharp? Team that looked like they didn't even belong on the same field as Detroit a few days earlier. Go and sweep the Twins right out of there.
I saw quite a bit of that series. It was pretty good baseball all weekend long by the Royals. They cleaned up their defense. Their bullpen was outstanding.
Their offense was great.
Offense was really good. Now that rotation that Keller and Junis are back with Singer and Bubic, and Duffy, that's not a bad rotation they throw out there.
And you're not having to have a bullpen day on your second day of the season like they did earlier this year. That was infuriating.
It was.
Anyway, stay in the Central, shall we? Zach Plesac with a scoreless start for the Indians. That wasn't the most newsworthy item for Zach Plesac this weekend. After his start, he goes out partying in Chicago, sent home by the team. Further updates. Mike Clevenger also goes out, as that's being reported, with Zach Plesac. He was sent home in isolation, scratched from his start tomorrow. Adam Plutko, the third and forgotten member of that UCLA rotation with Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer, still making it around in Cleveland. He'll start in his stead. How bad is this, though, Gray? Cleveland has got a guy in Carlos Carrasco who has battled leukemia and battled all these diseases, has two guys in his own rotation that can't stay healthy for his own sake. Imagine how you would feel if you're Carlos Carrasco and you've got two young bucks out there putting themselves before the team and you're battling for your life for leukemia. They want to go out and party.
Yeah, not good, but it shows you how serious a lot of these teams are taking this. And I know the Cardinals' situation's a mess, but the Marlins have picked themselves back up, and they're going, and the rest of the league is taking this seriously. I mean, all of a sudden, baseball's almost a third of the way through the 60 games. Isn't that crazy how quickly that snuck up on us?
And you saw what the reputations of the Marlins and the Cardinals did. They were the piñatas of the league for the last, and the Cardinals still are. I mean, you don't want to be the next team in that reputation. So I think teams after those scares are definitely taking it a lot more serious. We're starting to see a lot of rookies and first-time major leaguers making their debuts. One of those guys, Joe Adell, a big-time prospect for the Los Angeles Angels. He was given his major league debut late last week. His first oops moment of the year, arguably the biggest oops moment that we'll see not only this year but for years to come, happened when he was in right field.
1-1. Solak drives one in the air to right field. Adell back. He's at the track. Now backpedaling, reaches out. It's off his glove and over the wall. Holy smokes. A home run for Nick Solak that goes off of the glove of Joe Adell as he turned around about 5 feet from the wall in the middle of the warning track.
So Joe Adell just barely gets onto the warning track, puts his glove about shoulder high, ball bounces off of his heel of his glove over the fence for what then was scored a home run, but Elias goes back and changes the ruling to a 4-base error for Nick Solak of the Texas Rangers. Whoops.
You agree with the scoring change?
Yeah, I saw the play happen. It was a blatant error. It wasn't like he tried to rob the home run. It was an error to the fullest degree. He should have caught it. And unfortunately, Joe Adell's big major league moment, the first of his career, isn't a walk-off home run, isn't a game-saving throw. It's a home run that bounces off his glove and goes over the fence. Whoopsies. It happens, I guess. Let's stay in the AL West, shall we? And boy, did things get dicey out at Oco in Oakland between the Athletics and, you guessed it, the Houston Astros.
3-2. Look out. Curveball backed up on Castellanos and hit Laureano on the backside, and he's not happy. And now Laureano's barking a little bit. He's had enough. He's hit twice today. You can't blame him. Look, there's no intent. I understand that, but still, it just was a bad look. And now Laureano's racing toward the Astros dugout. He's going after somebody, and he's tackled by several Astros. And now we have a real Donnybrook, something that was completely frowned upon in 2020. And both teams are pushing and shoving each other in front of the Astros dugout, and it has not stopped yet.
So much respect for me, and now Ramon Laureano. One of my new favorite players in the league. The funniest part of this whole thing was, I don't know if you've seen the video, as he's getting hit, Maldonado, the catcher for Houston, gets in front of him. And Laureano, if you're familiar with pitch grips, he's showing him how to throw a breaking ball with his fingers. And he's like, this is how you do it. It was a 3-2 breaking ball, 78 miles an hour, that got him like in the ribs. That's an outfielder showing up a major league pitcher on how to throw a breaking ball. It was hilarious. And then one of the guys on the bench for Houston starts barking, and he goes all Amir Garrett from the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Reds against the Pirates from a few years ago, challenges the whole team, the whole dugout. Laureano spoke on that today and said, I'm a man. I'm a freaking man. I don't back down from anybody. Yes, I let my emotions get the best of me, but I won't ever back down. I'll take whatever punishment is handed to me. More accountability in that quote that has been taken the entire front office or clubhouse of Houston since the whole season unfolded. So we've got 2 of the 4 pictures on the Mount Rushmore of the season, Greg. We've got Joe Kelly occupying it from the Los Angeles Dodgers, and now we have Ramon Laureano, center fielder for the Oakland A's. There's 2 spots left. Anybody wants to come add their face to the wall?
Has Joe Kelly's appeal been heard? I don't think it
Well, he
has.
just landed on the DL with like a bleach drain or something like that, so I don't know how that works. I don't know. I mean, you could just say, all right, but then you're wasting a roster spot if you're not putting him on the IL. So but yeah, interesting stuff to say the least that's happening out in Oakland. That was awesome.
Wow, good stuff.
All right, some news and notes for Major League Baseball. It was the weekend of the injured list, of the IL. Some big-time names landing on there this weekend, starting first with our own Aaron Bummer, strained biceps. They're being pretty hush-hush about his injury. They're not giving any timetable at all to his return. Madison Bumgarner back for the Diamondbacks. He's on the DL. He's had one good start this year for Arizona. He's on the DL. Mike Moustakas was out to a torrid start to the season for Cincinnati, but he battled an illness, had a wrist, and now a quad, and now a groin. He's on the IL. Giancarlo Stanton from the Yankees now on the IL, and of course Mike Soroka, the big one, Atlanta Braves starter, on the IL with that torn Achilles. So a lot of big-time names headed to the injured list this weekend from Major League Baseball, so that's no bueno. Starting to see some guys that are headed to the list. But that's kind of a recap of what happened on the diamond this weekend. How about we'll stay in California. We'll go from the AL West to the PGA Championship. What a day it was for golf. So many heavy-hitting names toward the top of the leaderboard. Dustin Johnson being one of them, Jason Day being another. You name it. Bryson DeChambeau, everybody's favorite golfer, purposely left him off. But it was a name that people better get familiar with that took it home.
Sends this one high into the air. Everybody tracking this as it heads to the left side for the green. It'll bounce once. It rolls onto the green and releases. Colin Morikawa with maybe the shot of the PGA Championship. Starts the putter back. Slow roll toward the hole. It's in. All the volunteers have gathered around the 16th green as Colin Morikawa, driver to 7 feet, 7-foot putt for eagle. He is at 13 under par for the championship with a 2-shot lead and 2 holes to go.
That guy sounds familiar. I think maybe
Kevin Kugler.
Heard his voice once or twice.
Working for the first time since March.
It was funny listening to the golf analysis all day on 17. Drivers not to play. Drivers not to play.
Yeah.
You gotta lay up. You haven't even been in that good a shape with driver off the tee. Well, Morikawa's like, hey, watch this, buddy. Man, he played awesome. Played great. Colin Morikawa wins the PGA. That was such a fun tournament to watch. A couple of different times with 4 or 5 holes to go. 6 players tied for the lead. And Morikawa wins it by 2 at 13 under.
23-year-old, played college golf at Cal, so just pretty close to where this tournament was held. And boy, Ben, week in and week out, he's on that leaderboard. He has got a really smooth game. He reminds me a little bit of what Spieth was doing a few years ago, but I think he's a little bit longer off the tee than Spieth, who can't get it going again. But you're going to hear that name for a while. As young as he is, as composed as he is, that was an impressive win. That was a fun golf tournament. You're right. And how about it bleeding into prime time because of the West Coast tee times? That was kind of neat. Both Saturday and Sunday, they bled into prime time. Also, CBS stirred the pot a little bit on Saturday. I don't know if you caught it, but Phil Mickelson came and sat in the tower with Jim Nance and Nick Faldo for a few holes. People kind of speculate, is Mickelson about ready to retire and become a golf analyst and maybe the new lead guy for CBS? He was pretty funny. I listened for a while. He was pretty funny sitting up there with Nance.
And by the way, being able to hear the golfers is just epic. A lot of the stuff we can't repeat on the air, but Phil provided one of the best quotes ever with a hot mic, and it wasn't even bad. He smokes a drive right down the middle, just bombs. What does he call them? Nukes? He calls them something weird. And just shanked his second so bad to the right, like probably 20 yards right. And he's walking up, and he's got this disgusted look on his face, and he goes, well, at least the drive was good.
Yeah, what we've been able to pick up on these mics over the last 2 months with golf is what anybody who plays does, right? I mean, everybody says those things when you're out playing the Muni on a Saturday morning. You're saying the same thing those guys are saying. That's what makes it great.
Oh, it's so funny. Talking to you, Justin Thomas.
Yeah. It was good. Golf's going to take a lot of headlines over the next month. That was the PGA. They play a tournament this week, and then starts the FedEx Cup. You got the U.S. Open in the middle of September, the Masters in November. You're going to hear a lot of golf stuff in the next couple of weeks, and their ratings have been huge, man. Big-time ratings for them on TV.
Awesome tournament. Yep, that's it.
Good. Well done. All right, our Sports Only Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Phone line's back open. Tim would love to take your call at 531-500-4686, 531-500-4686. That also doubles as our U.S. Cellular text line. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of Husker Athletics. You want to shoot us a text? We can get back into the Scott Frost press conference from earlier today. When we come back, we'll play you some of the clips from the players. 3 of them, DiCaprio Boodle, Adrian Martinez, Matt Farniak met with the media after Coach Frost talked. We'll play some of those clips and take some of your calls next. That's the number if you want to join us with a comment or question, or you can send us a text if you have some thoughts you'd like to share with us here tonight after a pretty explosive press conference with Scott Frost today. Very passionate as he talked to the media, a 10-minute opening statement before he took a question. He had a lot he wanted to cover, and his voice cracked a couple times. As you can just tell, there was so much pent-up emotion. He had not talked to the media in over a month. It was right after the 4th of July that he did a Zoom call with the media, either right after or maybe the week of the 4th of July. So it's been a while since anybody had heard from the head coach, and he had a lot to say today. And then a bonus, Ben, was when they brought some players up, and they brought 3 guys that you would think would be captains, DiCaprio Boodle, Adrian Martinez, and Matt Farniak. And I texted you when I was watching. I'm like, I miss those guys. I miss seeing those guys and talking to those guys.
Yeah, it's funny you texted me that because I literally had the same thought. It's like, man, I haven't talked to any of those guys in forever. It's just like I wanted to like go through the screen, high five, buddy. It's like it's been so long. I mean, even our baseball guys too. You know, there was a highlight over the weekend of Jackson Hallmark and Luke Roskin. Was like, dang. And you even said the other day, like, I haven't even seen you in like 5 months. It's like, man, what happened to my life? All these guys I'm seeing every day, and now it's just all I get highlights of them on Twitter, and I get you through a Zoom call every day. That's what I get.
Yeah, that we're doing the show on Zoom. I've not been in the same room as you since March the 12th.
Since the whole bombshell exploded.
Yeah. I mean, today's the 10th of August. It's been 5 months. Unbelievable.
Nice.
How'd you feel like the players handled themselves today?
Pretty good, and I knew they would get some tough questions, and I thought they handled themselves well. A lot of issues that are bigger than they are that they had to speak on and speak to, which isn't always fair, but comes with the territory. Thought they represented themselves great. I was really proud of DCAP for the way he handled the question about high school student athletes because, you know, DiCaprio is a guy that would never have been at Nebraska if it wasn't for those satellite camps. And he's very proud of how far he's come from being a guy that was known for just running fast and wasn't thought of as a Division I football player. And that's why he opened eyes, is because of his ability to run. So I'm proud of him for telling that story, and he's the perfect one of those guys to speak that story because Adrian Martinez is one of those guys that was noticed as a sophomore and you know, could have gone anywhere, and Matt too as a big lineman. I know he's not from a recruiting hotbed area, but had his choice of where he wanted to go too. But yeah, I thought overall they did great. Proud of Adrian. Adrian looks good. Got a lot of hair on both his face and his head. Got a ways to go to catch Matt Farniak, but he's doing his best. But overall, I thought they handled themselves pretty well, and that's a pretty good trio to go up and speak if you're Scott Frost.
That must be a COVID haircut for Farniak.
Yeah, sure looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, Adrian Martinez was asked, does he get a sense what the fans want? Do the fans want to see college football? Here was his response.
If we're talking just Nebraska, I know for a fact that people of Nebraska want to play. I think that's almost 100% if you asked our state and the city of Lincoln, our players, our staff, our community, we want to play football here. And I think across the country, I see that too. I see that from other schools. I see that from players. And I see that from college football fans. They want the game to continue. I think America, I think our country needs college football.
Comments of the Husker quarterback there. Then the players got asked about playing somebody other than Big Ten teams, which their head coach threw out as a possibility before they came into the room for that. Here was DiCaprio Boodle's thoughts about playing teams outside the Big Ten.
After practice, I was kind of running around the locker room telling everybody we was about to join the AFC North. So, you know, we ready to play whoever. That's just kind of how we feel right here right now. So whoever it is in front of us, you know, obviously we want to play. We want to play quality football. We want to play quality teams and stay safe at the same time. So, you know, if it's the AFC North, bring them to us.
Lamar Jackson might have some fun with old black shirt defense, but man, I love the attitude though. You know, I mean that goes back to what we were talking about earlier of guys that love to play. And DCAP, I mean, you talk about a guy that just lays it all out there. I mean, there's been so many times where he's been out there playing. I was like, ooh, that was a pop. Who was that? And you see 23 jumping out of the pile, and it's like, okay, didn't expect that out of you. You know, you Mighty Mouse. But him, Adrian, I mean, you go down the list, Cam Taylor-Britt, all those guys are going to be known for, you know, their willingness, their ability to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. And I believe Coach Frost wholeheartedly when he says this is the closest this team's ever been is right now because of guys like that and those representatives that were up there and those guys that are speaking out on Twitter the last few days.
Matt Farniak was asked the same question about playing somebody other than a Big Ten team this year. Here was his response.
We would love to be able to play in the Big Ten, but like that's where we are. That's our conference. That's our home, and we want to be able to represent the Big Ten, but if the Big Ten chooses to cancel, we're 100% open to playing whoever wants to play. And if at the end of the day we get to play at the Big Ten, perfect. Like that's our home. That's our conference. That's our place. If for whatever reason they decide to cancel and we shift somewhere else, so be it. We, plain and simple, the message that we've always really trying to put out there is we just want to play football. We want to represent Nebraska, and we want to show what we've been working for.
Very reasonable take from Matt Farniak. No reaction from the league office to these comments today. They've not answered this. I think Nebraska got some help when Ryan Day was on College Football Live on ESPN this afternoon, and he kind of said the same thing. We're going to explore every option to play in some games this year for the Buckeyes, and there'll be strength in numbers. If Nebraska's not hanging out there by themselves with this thing, I think it will strengthen their case to kind of try to get some games on the schedule. What is that, 4, 6, 8? 10? I don't know, but I think it strengthens their case if they're not the only league member to say that. And today, with Ryan Day, the head coach at Ohio State, making those comments, Jim Harbaugh making a plea that he thinks football can be played here in the fall, James Franklin took to Twitter this afternoon to kind of say the same things. And then an interesting tweet late this afternoon from Kirk Street, Ben, from ESPN, saying, to be clear, regarding Big Ten football and their impending announcement, they are looking to delay the start of the season, not cancel. Well, that's not what we've been getting hints of for the last 3 days. It was like, cancel, maybe try it in spring.
I'm not believing anything anybody says until Kevin Warren decides to dig through his closet, because clearly the megaphone that he uses is lost. Maybe it got lost in the move. He can't find it, but whenever he finds it, that's what I'll believe, because this is outrageous, and I don't know what to believe. Every time you refresh Twitter today, somebody was saying something different.
Crazy, just crazy stuff.
You and I should start a rumor on Twitter and see how far it goes and how many people retweet it.
It's almost like April Fool's Day has been going on for several weeks. Let's just make something up and see if it sticks and how many people we can get to believe it and buy into it.
I think we could go a long way. Really could.
Yeah, probably so. All right, I need to take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you about Husker Fanatics. They're open again. We're ready to sell you some Husker merchandise. We'll give you some of the details next. We're back on Sports Island here on the Husker Sports Network, and delighted to be joined by Karen Nielsen. She's the general manager of Fanatics here in Lincoln, the official apparel store of the Cornhuskers. And we just want to remind people that I guess you're back. You're open, correct? If people want to come by and get some Husker gear, you are open on both locations. Is that correct?
That is correct. We're open in our arena store and in our store in the stadium on the Gate 18 on the east side.
Very good. If people are nervous about coming in and shopping, how are you taking care of, how are you keeping everybody safe?
We have a few different things we've implemented. One of the biggest things, we're following state and local guidelines for capacity. So both locations we're sitting at 50% customer capacity. We also have rearranged our stores, so we have plenty of room for social distancing. There's greater than 6 feet in between each of our fixtures. We've got plexiglass around our registers. We also offer complimentary hand sanitizer and face masks to every shopper that walks in the door, so everybody can feel comfortable coming in.
Karen, I would imagine this would be a fairly busy week for you guys. Students are starting to come back on campus. I know the dorms open up later in the week. I would guess traditionally this would be a big week for you guys.
Traditionally, yes, it would be very much, but I think some people are a little nervous to go shopping still. So with that being said, we have implemented a few different options. We have curbside pickup, local delivery, and private shopping opportunities we wanted to make sure people knew about. They just need to give me a call at the store, and I can detail that all out for them. And we just want to do what we can to make sure people can get their Husker gear in a safe manner so everybody can get what they need.
No doubt. I mean, everybody coming back to school, they need that Husker gear. It's a great maybe late graduation gift for somebody, or send them off to college gift for somebody. You talked about giving you a call. What numbers are the best numbers to get a hold of you or someone that works in the stores?
It would be 402-904-5700. You can call anytime, and I'll call you back as soon as I walk in the door. I check my voicemail every day.
Very good. What kind of store hours are you holding right now?
In our arena store, we are open Wednesday through Saturday from noon to 6 p.m. And in our East Stadium store, the one that's in the stadium at Gate 18, we're doing Wednesday through Friday from 12 to 4. Again, those private shopping opportunities, I can make that work pretty much any day of the week when we don't have open store hours.
Okay, well, so folks who may be coming to Lincoln, dropping off a student for the first time later in the week at the dorms, swing by. Gate 18 over there, open on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I know that's a lot of drop-off dates for students coming back onto campus, and go pick up some Husker apparel and make sure you got those college students geared up and ready for another year. I know you mentioned to me earlier today you got some nice Adidas shoes that people can come in and take a look at as well. Is that correct?
They're actually going to be on their way. They're not quite here yet. We're anticipating them in September. But we do have the Nebraska Ultra Boosts that are scheduled to come to us. So check those out here in about a month.
Very good. So, okay, so you're open at the arena, Pinnacle Bank Arena, and also Gate 18, and that's on the east side of the stadium. Is that right?
That's correct. That new roundabout they put in, I think it was last year, coming through that roundabout, and you can park there temporarily and come on in.
Very good. Karen, again, one more time for the phone number for folks if they want to just do order with you and then come by and pick it up. Give them that number one more time.
Phone number is 402-904-5700.
Fantastic. Karen Nielsen from Fanatics, the official apparel store for the Cornhuskers. 2 locations, one at Pinnacle Bank Arena, the other one on the east side of the stadium. Karen, thank you so much. It's going to be great to have some students back on campus, and let's hope you sell some merchandise in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. 531-500-4686, the number to dot us up with a comment or question, or you can send us a text on that very same line. Got a text from a gentleman that said, I would like to see Nebraska play a full 10 games. Could they knock it down to 7 and 8? No spring ones if no fall football. How many other sports teams would be forced to cancel or fold? I think that there are people in the Big Ten that just think, kick this thing to the spring. We have a better chance of doing that. Scott Frost was asked about the spring and just said he didn't really think that's a possibility. I think that's really asking a lot of your football athletes to play a spring schedule, Ben, and then come back next fall. I think you can do that in some sports, volleyball, soccer, that aren't as physically taxing. I just don't know that you can do that in football.
Well, and to me, the most obvious is, and Coach Frost addressed this, who's to say the same issues that we're talking about now from preventing the season happening aren't still there in the spring? I mean, right. I don't know. I just too many unanswered questions, and if you're canceling the season now because of these reasons, you're probably going to have those same reasons come up in March.
Doug and Malcolm was the one who threw us that text. Appreciate that, Doug. Thanks for using our new U.S. Cellular text line there. Yeah, and that's. I mean, when you get into the winter months, you're gonna also add into the mix. Still, COVID's going to be around, but then that's going to be the height of the influenza season. So then you're going to have that to deal with. So, which is, we've talked before, that's always been a big problem for basketball teams, is that the flu bug goes through a locker room, and then they get guys knocked out. Huskers have dealt with that the last couple of years on the hardwood. You're going to mix that in with COVID, and it could be just really messy in the months of January and February. So how do you get spring? So spring has never made sense to me, even though we've had people, including Hondo Carpenter from Spartan Nation, who was floating that balloon at us last week about that as well. So, it's going to be interesting. The next couple of days are going to be wild. I know the Big Ten chancellors and presidents are meeting yet again. Even maybe they even have a call tonight about this. So it's constantly changing. Things are constantly swirling around. Kirk Herbstreit's tweet this afternoon about they're not going to cancel, just going to postpone. I don't know. It's just crazy stuff. All right, let's get into weekend winners. Why don't you lead us off? Who caught your eye over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think my obvious winner is Ramon Laureano for the way that he handled his business on Sunday yesterday against the Astros. I'm always going to give special shout-outs to those baseball players that aren't afraid to speak their mind or act a particular way. But I think overall, if it's got to be plural in winners, it's just got to be the golfers yesterday that, all of them who were in contention for the lead at some point, just provided such great entertainment on a Sunday. Just an outstanding golf tournament yesterday.
Great drama, wasn't it? Really was. When you had 6-7 guys tied for the lead with 9 holes to play.
Every shot mattered.
Yeah, it was pretty cool stuff. All right, Mr. Curran, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I would second what Ben had to say. Whenever you watch Jose Altuve struggle and watch the Astros get beat, that's the good stuff. And also Colin Morikawa, his trophy lift gave me a smile. He almost spilled the thing as he lifted it up. But my weekend winner comes from the world of ice hockey. One of the things this pandemic has given me is given me an appreciation for the NHL, something I probably would have been tuning in regularly for on other circumstances. But I've been kind of strangely engrossed by the kind of quasi-playoffs they got going on the round robin. I was watching the Blue Jackets and Maple Leafs. So my winner of the weekend are the Blue Jackets for finishing out that series against the Maple Leafs. I don't know if you guys saw this on Friday, but the Maple Leafs were down 3-0. They tie it up. They scored 2 goals in a crazy amount of time in the third period. They get the winner in overtime. Blue Jackets turn around and hand the Leafs a 3-0 loss. So, strangely enough, I am starting to get the hockey bug a bit. So, my Columbus Blue Jackets, my weekend winner.
Is it 16 left now? They were at 24. Did we eliminate 8? And does that sound right?
Yep, I think so. That's correct.
Okay, and I would guess this round will be best of 5s as well. You can't go best of 7s yet. I would think it's going to be best of 5s through this round. Tampa's got a shot, don't they, Ben? They got a chance to win the cup.
Yeah, I think they're slowly getting away. I mean, they had a dominant regular season, but, yeah, we'll just see. They're not known necessarily for their playoff prowess. They've made a couple of runs, but no cups yet.
All right, my winner. The Kansas City Royals have won 4 in a row. They sweep the Minnesota Twins over the weekend. They played really good baseball. It was high-quality baseball, good defense, pretty solid pitching. The Royals are one of the top home run teams in baseball right now, which is just crazy. They've been pounding the ball out of the ballpark. They've been fun to watch. Not often you can name the Royals as a winner of the week, so I jumped on this and threw that out there right now. They've been kind of fun to watch. I have watched, and I know you have too, Ben, just a ton of baseball since they've come back. Because I think part of me was thinking, I don't know how long this is going to last. I better soak up as much as I can while they're out there playing.
Yeah, it's been a pretty spectacular amount of baseball that I've watched and consumed over the last couple of weeks. But I love it, and hopefully it doesn't go anywhere anytime soon.
All right, let's recap that press conference we heard earlier today. One, I didn't know that it would happen. We had a call. All of us were on a call this morning, and we were all kind of going, I don't know that he's going to talk. I think Purdue had announced earlier this morning that their players and coaches were off limits for the foreseeable future. Iowa pulled their team off the practice field at 11 o'clock this morning. And then there he was. Scott Frost at 1:30 said he wanted to go through the press conference, and he was loaded for bear. He came prepared for that, Ben, and I think it really made a lot of Nebraskans proud.
Yeah, I think so, especially judging by the poll that we put out on Husker Sports. I mean, I just feel like the overwhelming majority, it's at 87.2%, think it's safe to have a college football season. I think for those 87%, assuming that's about the same percentage of a number, made Husker fans feel the same way as you and I. I think to have that big, powerful voice to take a stand where everyone's kind of blowing in the wind with their opinions these days, that wasn't the case. Coach Frost planted that flag and said, this is what we stand for, this is what we believe in, this is how we've handled it, and this is what we want to happen. I think there's a lot of Husker fans that are feeling the same way we do, which is pretty proud today.
Also, I noticed that Notre Dame is back on campus. It's a private school, so it's not a huge student population. I think they have 12,000 students. They tested every one of their students, Ben, and it came back 99.7% were negative. So they only had just a handful of students test positive. That's a good start for that. And you know, over the weekend, and this is an argument that's been being put out there even today, is if students are coming back on campuses across the country, and yet you're telling us we can't play sports, it's kind of it's contradictory to those things. My other winner of the week is high school football. A bunch of practices started today around the state. A couple of schools even had those 12:01 a.m. practices last night. That was fun to see. I saw some of the schools up in the Omaha area had the lights on at their stadium last night, and we're out on the practice field at 12:01. You know, there was a lot of excitement for those schools to get out and have their first official practice for the upcoming high school football season.
Heck yeah. I mean, and especially those that have had theirs canceled. A lot of their friends, I'm sure, in other schools and other districts that have had their seasons canceled, and I'm sure there was a whole new appreciation for being able to put a helmet on with your school's logo on the side of it for at least the time being to go out there and practice. I'm sure there was a whole lot of appreciation for those players that they were given that opportunity yesterday, and probably will continue to have that as long as they're able to play.
Ben, you surprised me. I thought maybe you would throw Jackson Hallmark out there as your winner of the weekend.
Well, kind of take away from Luke Roscom if that was the case. If anybody need to be Colby Gomez for that absolute rocket nuke that he hit for Tulsa. May give Coach – he's going to carry that with him. I mean, we're never going to hear the end of that. Anytime Nebraska's struggling offensively, 34 is going to throw his arms up and go.
I can do that.
You know who needs to bust us out of the slump? I do.
I can knock this out of the ballpark. You and I were talking about this today, too. I mean, a lot of those Husker baseball players have played baseball all summer long. Northwoods League, the league that's here in Nebraska and South Dakota. Kobe's been down in Tulsa playing for the Drillers down there. Kate Povich is playing in a league with the Savannah Bananas. I mean, those kids have been out playing baseball all summer. That's kind of gotten lost on this whole discussion of whether these kids can compete athletically right now.
No doubt, yeah.
Good hour. Again, Fanatics open again, both their PBA location and the one on the East Stadium. Go get your latest Husker garb for your incoming student to Nebraska. Nice present.